Hi folks, just a little update on where I'm at with it. So if you've seen my most recent videos, you'll have seen that the bike's now running, that the engine starts and runs, albeit it does need a jump start, so I maybe need to charge up the battery or get a new battery or something. It does start and run, but there have been a few teething problems. One of the teething problems is that it was leaking quite a bit of antifreeze from that from the radiator plug there. So what I've done is I took it out and put some Granville, I think it was Granville or something like that, gasket sealant around the O-ring, and that seems to have stopped it leaking. I've come out and checked it this morning. Yesterday there was like a big puddle of antifreeze on the ground, and you could see that it was leaking from here. It was all kind of dripping down the hose and stuff. Obviously it's rained over the night, so it's wet. Out here the bike had a cover on it to keep it dry, but the ground's wet, so it's difficult to tell whether there's antifreeze there, but clearly this is not leaking anymore because this bit's bone dry. This is all bone dry, there's nothing coming out of anywhere down there, so that's the good news. The bad news is I think a water pump gasket might be leaking a bit, because when you run the engine you seem to get drops of water coming out around here, so I'm probably going to have to take that water pump apart, put a new gasket on and seal it up again to get it to seal properly, but I don't necessarily need to do that before the MOT. So the other problem that I've had with it is that the gearbox effectively was upside down. In one of the previous videos I said that I couldn't find neutral in the gearbox, and I figured out what the reason is by looking in my Haynes manual. If you look in the Haynes manual, right at the front of the CBR 900 Haynes manual, what you see is actually that there's just the lever doesn't have a mechanism like that. It isn't mounted on the rear set like this one. It's actually just mounted straight on the spindle from the gearbox. So basically you just have a lever going back like that. And so what I realised was, because of the way that I had this set up with the rod underneath, what was happening was when I was trying to go up the gears, I was going down, and vice versa. So that's why neutral was near the top of the box and all the other gears were down the way. So I had like 1, neutral, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So what I've done is I basically took this off and just mounted it the other way up, just flipped this over, bolted it back on. As you can now see, the rod is going from underneath as it was before, but instead of going to underneath the spindle, it's now going to the top of the spindle, and I've just tested that, and the gearbox is now the right way up. So I've got 1, neutral, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's resolved that issue. I think it actually looks a bit better as well, because now I look at it, I don't think it was right. It wasn't right the way it was before, with the spindle going across kind of like hanging about 2 inches below the gearbox spindle. So that's that taken care of. So I've sorted my gears, I've sorted my antifreeze problem. I've still got the problem that the bike doesn't start very easily and doesn't run very well. So, but I've been looking on the internet yesterday night, and I've got a few things that I can try to do with fueling and ignition and what have you. When you run the engine, it actually sounds like it's misfiring. Like I say, I've got some things that I can try. So I'm gonna get the seat off, get the tank off, and poke about in the carbs and the ignition and that. And what I'll do is I'll put another video up probably later today regarding this. On another note, I'm just gonna say just now actually that I'm currently out of work, and if anyone's looking for any help with anything mechanical, work on bikes, cars, whatever, or even a bit of welding, I can also do a bit of welding. So if anyone's looking for anyone with those kind of skills, then I'm kind of available on the job market. If you've got anything that you think I might be interested in, just put a comment in the comments please, with some contact details or whatever, and I'll contact you. send you a copy of my CV or whatever, that's fine. Well, thanks very much for watching.